Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us back here at Sproutly's channel. We're sitting here once again with Dr. Sen, and today we want to talk about the company in general a little bit more. But first off, Doc, how are you doing? You've been working hard?
I'm doing well. Yes, in fact, that's why I was a little late calling in for this recording.
No worries, no worries. Nose to the grindstone, right?
Yeah, well, it's actually fun, and as we talked about last time, the dream is now
Mhm.
coming to realization. So that's what's exciting, and
Well,
I keep testing it out.
perfect. Well, for those maybe new to the channel, new to watching these videos, can you just give like a basic elevator pitch of what it is that Sproutly does?
Sure. So Sproutly has a unique technology license from a company called Infusion Biosciences that I co-founded back about 5 years ago. And the technology is to be able to deliver to consumers two things. One, the whole plant, not just cannabinoids or terpenes or some mix of that, whole plant, so that people can enjoy the advances that have been made in cannabis genetics, hemp genetics, cultivation, and so on and so forth. Because it's the total plant that gives you the experience, not just the THC or CBD.
Mhm.
And the second, to be able to give it in a water solution or in a water soluble form, because that's what we have known over the last 50 years in the nutrition and ingredient delivery businesses, that if it's in a water solution, all of it effectively goes into the system, good, bad, or otherwise. So that's what Sproutly is doing with cannabis and eventually hemp, initial focus being cannabis,
Mhm.
because in the recreational market in Canada, it's a wonderful place to be able to offer people who know I like this strain, not that strain.
Mhm.
Well, you can smoke it, or you can have this little 2-ounce shot and have exactly the same effect.
Interesting. So now you're sitting there in the lab, you're working on stuff. Tell us how progress is going so far. Show us a couple examples of some other things, and tell us how this process works.
Sure. So so the way the overall structure is set up in Florida, where Infusion Bioscience, the parent company's research and development lab is, that's where I am today. Up in Canada, Sproutly, who owns Toronto Herbal Remedies, which is a licensed producer under Health Canada, it has license to cultivate, to grow and sell flower, to process flower, and as of last October, sell products made with ingredients made from the flower.
Mhm.
So that's what Sproutly is. So that since Infusion licensed this unique technology to Sproutly, what we do is do all the research and development, the formulation, the evaluation, all gets done here. Once you know exactly how much of this need to be, how much of that, in what volume of water, or what have you, we transfer that entire details up to our facility in Scarborough, and there the finished product gets made and it is to be sold. So what is going on? We have now done a lot of beverage formulation,
Mhm.
both in the 12 or 16-ounce ready to drink RTD beverage, as well as shots,
Mhm.
2-ounce shots. And we also have produced for the edible field gummies. So these are gummies. Obviously, in the US, it's made with hemp extract.
Yeah.
So we now have finished formulating multiple flavors of gummies with a couple of unique strains of cannabis that are expected to provide, and we know that in the form of gummy as well as beverage, they do provide very, very different experience. So
Mhm.
we really are trying to deliver experience, not just a THC high or CBD, whatever that does, right? So we are now able to deliver, and we have finished formulations for both ready to drink as well as 2-ounce beverage and gummies as the first line of edibles, right? So that's what we want to take to the market as soon as possible, but we
Mhm.
want to make sure that what we're putting out isn't going to have either not very attractive taste, not good looks, some
Yeah.
funny odor, or wacky appearance. For example, this, you can see how crystal clear our 2-ounce beverages,
Yeah.
right? So obviously in Canada, it's going to be not transparent, but when people pour it out in a cup, they will see that when this gets poured here, this is what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay. So you're making really quality, beautiful stuff. You want the branding to be on point, the flavor and everything.
Exactly.
It's a
right.
science. It's a science, so to speak. So from there, tell us more about how this will work once things are selling, once things are up and moving. What's like the paths to revenue and so on and so forth.
Right. So we obviously have our in-house projections based on the distribution of the sales in different sectors, right? Smoking and flower is still the largest segment, but beverage is growing, edibles are slowly growing.
Yeah.
So we believe that by the middle of next year, during the second half of next year, we will be able to generate sufficient revenues from what I call the initial or 2.0 products, gummies, except ours will be whole plant, different strains. 2-ounce beverages, ours will be whole plant and good tasting, fresh tasting, good flavors, and the whole 9 yards with different experience. So those are our first targets. And those we believe, based on the major provinces that are already listed in, should generate enough revenues to make the company cash flow break even. That's been my first target. We went to the transformation from being a cultivation facility to product facility. Now it's complete. We have some extra space where we can bring in other producers to operate so that we can broaden our product portfolio. So that's kind of the stage one, if you will, from now until, call it May, June of next year, right? Product launches, initial products, primarily focused on just cannabis, the experience, right? But that's still, to me, variations of 2.0, right? But the uniqueness of ours is going to be, I'm really, really excited about the 2-ounce beverage, because in order to put in 5 or 10 milligrams THC worth of cannabis, when you use either emulsion or non-emulsion, it will never look like or taste like what ours do, because of the chemical that's in those formulations. Because first you extract that in oil, nobody likes the taste of oil, right? But now to put into beverage, you add chemicals, either emulsifiers or encapsulators. Now you have a chemical taste that you have to mask. Whereas this is just like iced tea.
Yeah. So the process that you guys do things at just it skips that whole, okay, it's emulsified, it's an oil, and then you got to add it back into a beverage. Your guys is a completely different path. The technology you use to actually get it into a beverage. Okay. Well, Doc,
Exactly.
I'm curious from there. You touched on this idea of cannabis 3.0 multiple times. Is there anybody else that you could compare yourselves to in this regard? Is there anyone else out there doing this, or is this something you guys are taking on yourselves?
Well, I don't want to be critical, but I think I've expressed this before. This obsession with THC, CBC, CBN, CBD, single molecules from a natural product, without significant science being done, kind of narrows what we are presenting to consumers. As I think I've said this one time before, when you drink tomato juice, you're drinking the tomato juice for all it offers. We all know that this set of molecules called lycopenes are very good for your health, but that comes as part of the tomato juice, not as a lycopene pill, right? And so same thing is true for cannabis and hemp. And if the farmers and the breeders and the plant genetics people have shown anything, is that this is a plant that can deliver all kinds of experience by itself. However, to me, 3.0 should be how the beverage industry and the food industry is calling functional foods, functional beverages. No single plant, no single mineral, no single vitamin would give you a function, right? So our goal, and I believe to the best of my knowledge, we are the only ones with the technology that can combine multiple different whole plant extract in a beverage, still crystal clear, and add to that other stuff, vitamins, minerals, so on and so forth, right? So just to give you an example, and I think of it 3.0, I ask, okay, what is one of the major need states of our modern lifestyle?
Mhm.
We work 24 hours a day. Sometimes we have to sleep from 12 noon to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, wake up for 3 hours, then be able to go back to sleep from 7 till 10, then wake up again, right? So sleep irregularity is part of our lifestyle now.
Yeah,
No
unfortunately.
longer live in the farming lifestyle where everybody gets up at sunrise and everybody eats dinner and goes to sleep when the sun sets.
Yeah,
Long gone, right?
long gone.
So sleep and rest support is incredibly important because when that gets disrupted, a whole host of chronic diseases appear, from
Yeah.
diabetes to cardiovascular disease, you name it, right? So one area would be sleep support. Well, what all helps us sleep? Chamomile, lavender, valerian root, some of the cannabis strains, some
Hmm.
of the hemp strains, minerals like magnesium and zinc. Now, obviously, in Canada, we cannot add pure magnesium or zinc, but edamame, which is what you eat when you go to a Japanese restaurant, is a rich source of magnesium.
Huh.
Making extract of edamame is a piece of cake. Same thing with zinc. Right now, zinc is obviously not very common, but many of the nuts are fantastic source of zinc. So the whole concept that we have developed over the last 15 years is we want to be able to have those natural plant, whole plant extract as sources of things that we believe we know and we need, right? And then be able to combine them in a pleasant, fresh tasting, acceptable volume. It can't be you have to drink 10 gallons of this to get an effect, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I believe 3.0 needs to be thinking about
Yeah.
functional foods or functional beverages that include experience or effect that cannabis or hemp can deliver. And so that's where Sproutly is going to be by the second half of next year. And that's why I just want to show a quick example of what I was playing around with in the lab is this. So this as an, I literally completely randomly found a bunch of extracts and
Mhm.
said, okay, can I combine these? So this has, as you can see, extract from a plant called moringa.
Mhm.
Moringa is also known as tree of life in the underdeveloped countries of the world. So when there is a famine, moringa plant alone can provide you full nutrition. So it's an interesting plant, right?
Yeah.
There is moringa, there is hibiscus. Everybody has, consumed hibiscus tea before it's good for
Yes.
your
Great.
heart
Yeah.
health. There is hibiscus. Then there is another plant called guesa. Guesa is a natural source of natural caffeine.
Yeah. Yeah. I
When
enjoy
you get
Gatorade tea.
like
One of
that,
my
drink
favorites.
that or consume that. And then for good measure, I added a little bit of our whole hemp extract, which happens to be a blend of two different varieties of hemp, one grown in New York, one grown in Oklahoma. And then just to be a little bit more crazy, I added a multi-mineral blend that
Mhm.
the sister company produces that has got calcium, magnesium, zinc, and potassium. Now, if those are not allowed as single minerals, as I said, I could put edamame extract in there. Yes, it'll look a little bit more green. But here is what I call a true 3.0 product. We could change the names, to other plant extracts that have got known functional nutritional benefits, right?
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
we can deliver to people new revolutionary stuff.
Wonderful, Doc. Yeah, I think you've did a good job of walking people through the overview of the company. Last but not least, before we go for your closing words, just let people know what you're most excited about right now when it comes to looking forward.
That looking forward is now I'm absolutely convinced based on what we have done. Oh, by the way, this has a mango flavor extract. You can put other flavors, right? My wife, for example, does not think mango is a flavor. Well, mango happens to be one of the most popular flavors, and just because she doesn't like it doesn't mean it's good. So,
Yeah, true.
so the thing that I'm most excited about is the second half of next year, bringing out functional beverages and foods that actually combine strategically selected natural products. This is a natural products industry, consumer products that are based on what Mother Nature gave us. And we are there. Now it's just a matter of filing the NNCPs, finishing up the regulatory compliances, getting all the paperwork done, that now we can produce stuff that not only will taste and feel good, but it's going to be good for you, good for what you need as opposed to what I need.
Yeah, good point.
Like
So
that.
yeah, it sounds like you guys are really on the right track right now. And I encourage anybody with any other questions, by all means, please ask them. We'll happily dive into them. We've did a couple Q&As so far, and we're more than willing to do some more. And Doc, listen, thank you so much for coming on. And I look forward to our next chat with the next big announcement. But for now, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too.